This poor, selfless maid saved a billionaire boss from his father's mistress. And then the unbelievable happened. You want to know what happened? Stay till the end as we find out together. The movie begins with a young man named Williams in a heated argument with a lady named Octavia. She threatened to take everything away from him and render him useless. In anger, they both ended up slapping each other. Fortunately, it was all a dream. Williams suddenly jumped up in fear, calling his father's name, worried that he was in danger. The following day, Williams, who was in the United States, angrily returned to his father's house with his girlfriend. On arrival, he rudely pushed the maid out of his way while calling out to his father. Sadly, his father's fiancée, Octavia, came out and broke the shocking news that his father had died. Williams was devastated because he had spoken to his father just a few days earlier. As Octavia tried to calm him down, his girlfriend, known as Sugar Pounds, confronted Octavia, leading to a brief quarrel. Still in disbelief, Williams left to search for his father. Williams and his girlfriend later returned to their room. He kept pacing around and even raised his voice at Sugar Pounds when she would not stop talking. Just then, Octavia knocked on the door, requesting to speak with Williams. Sugar Pounds initially tried to dismiss her, saying her man was not ready to talk. However, Octavia ignored her and kept calling Williams' name until he shouted at her angrily, forcing her to leave. Afterward, Octavia instructed the maid, Annabeth, to take their luggage to their room and ask if they were hungry so she could serve them food, which Annabeth did. Moments later, Annabeth brought in their luggage while Williams was still enraged. Trembling with fear, she politely asked if they were hungry so she could serve them. Williams, overwhelmed by anger, shouted at her repeatedly, causing her to shake even more. This drew Octavia into the room. Williams demanded to know what happened to his father and how he died. It was then revealed that Annabeth had witnessed everything. She recalled how his father suffered a cardiac arrest when she went to serve him food. In panic, she rushed to inform Octavia in her room. By the time she returned to get the car keys, he had already passed away. Back in the present, Octavia became emotional as she expressed her pain, leaving Williams speechless and deeply saddened. He then asked to be left alone. As they left the room, Octavia apologized to Annabeth for the way Williams had shouted at her. Annabeth thanked her and left, while Octavia stood deep in thought. Later that day, Octavia contacted the lawyer to come and read the will since the chief's son, Williams, was back. Meanwhile, Sugar Pounds came into the living room, turned on loud music, and began dancing excitedly. Williams, who was in his room mourning his father, was disturbed by the noise. He came downstairs and asked her to lower the volume. Unbothered, Sugar Pounds complained that she was already bored since they left the state and insisted she needed to go clubbing. Disappointed, Williams walked away and left her to continue dancing. That night, Williams remained deep in thought when his girlfriend tried to make out with him. However, he was not interested. He pushed her away and left, leaving her disappointed and heartbroken. The following morning, Sugar Pounds angrily demanded her breakfast from Annabeth. When she was told it was not yet ready, she began insulting her and speaking in a condescending manner, leaving Annabeth terrified. She threatened that if her breakfast was not ready in 5 minutes, she would peel off her skin. She then stormed away, forcing Annabeth to rush to work immediately. Later that day, Octavia, who had already begun managing her late fiancé's company, was giving instructions to a staff member over the phone when she received a call from the lawyer informing her that she had arrived. Octavia immediately stood up to go and welcome her. Moments later, Octavia went to Williams' room to call him, but Sugar Pounds stopped her and falsely claimed that Williams was not around. This almost led to an argument until Williams came out. Octavia then informed him that the lawyer had arrived and wanted to see him, leaving him curious. Soon after, they all gathered in the living room as Octavia introduced everyone. She explained that the purpose of the meeting was to read his father's will. Shocked, Williams strongly objected, saying his father had died barely a month ago and that it was too soon. However, the lawyer insisted, leaving him with no choice. Just as the reading was about to begin, a loud scream echoed from upstairs, and Williams immediately rushed to find out what was happening. It turned out to be his girlfriend. She claimed she saw shadows trying to touch her and that it frightened her. Williams, knowing very well that she only wanted his attention, was left speechless. Just then, Annabeth came in to inform them that the food was ready. However, Sugar Pounds, acting unnecessarily paranoid and unmannered, began yelling at Annabeth as if she were nobody. Williams politely asked Annabeth to leave, then scolded his girlfriend for her behavior. As expected, Sugar Pounds got offended and guilt-tripped Williams, leaving him feeling remorseful. Meanwhile, Octavia escorted the barrister out. From their conversation, it was clear they were familiar with each other and possibly up to something. Before leaving, the lawyer assured Octavia that everything would be fine. Later that day, Annabeth was alone in the kitchen, crying and singing passionately. Williams walked in and was surprised to see her in tears. He asked what was wrong. Annabeth sadly opened up, explaining that her life had been a roller coaster and that this was not the life she had prayed for. She grew up in an orphanage until a family abducted her. Sadly, the man in the house tried to take advantage of her, so she ran away. With nowhere to go and no place to sleep, she later saw a job opening for a cleaner and applied. She got the job but had no home to return to after work, so she slept in the office. That was when his father, Chief, discovered her situation and heard her story. From that moment, he took her in as his own daughter and gave her everything she had ever dreamed of, the love she had never received from anyone. Chief was always making her happy and even promised to send her to school in Canada because of how brilliant and passionate she was about reading. Now that Chief was dead, she felt she could never have that life again, leaving her sad and hopeless. Touched by her story, Williams comforted her with a hug and assured her that everything would fall into place. Just then, Sugar Pounds walked in and saw them together. She immediately assumed they were flirting and became paranoid. She yelled at Annabeth, threatened her, and forcefully dragged Williams out of the kitchen. The following day, Williams received a call from his father's lawyer requesting to come and read the will. Williams refused again, insisting the will would be read only when he was ready. Just then, his girlfriend, already dressed up, came in and asked him to take her on a shopping spree. Williams refused and told her to go on her own before walking away, leaving her completely unbothered. Later, Williams, Octavia, and the barrister sat down to read the will. It was revealed that Chief had left all his assets to Octavia, giving only 10% of the assets and a small car to his only son. Williams was stunned. He believed the will was forged and immediately challenged it. Octavia, however, stood her ground, insisting that Chief loved her deeply, and that was why he left everything to her, even though they were only engaged and not married. Enraged, Williams refused to accept the will and demanded to see the original copy before storming out, leaving Octavia and the barrister in shock. Meanwhile, Annabeth, alone in the kitchen, was deeply troubled as she debated whether to tell Williams the truth or mind her business. But guys, do you think this will was forced, or is it truly Chief's will? After all, love can be blind sometimes. Let's keep watching. Williams returned to his room, hoping to receive comfort from his woman, but sadly, that was not her concern. All she wanted was to go on shopping sprees and insisted he take her. Deeply disappointed, Williams pushed her away and walked out, leaving her shocked and unable to believe what had just happened. Meanwhile, Octavia walked the barrister to her car, expressing her fear that their plans might be exposed. The barrister assured her that nothing of that sort would happen. She told Octavia that Williams would never find out the will was forged because she had all the evidence. Relieved, Octavia agreed and reassured herself. Later, Williams stood in the hallway looking worried and lost in thought about the will when Annabeth approached him nervously. She told him she knew where his father had kept the original copy of the will, leaving him surprised. She recalled how Chief had once entrusted her with the information, telling her that if anything ever happened to him, 80% of his property and assets would go to his son, Williams, 10% to Octavia, and the remaining 10% to Annabeth. At the time, she did not take it seriously, believing nothing would ever happen to Chief. Back in the present, Williams politely asked her to show him where the will was kept. Just then, Sugar Pounds walked in and saw them together again. Feeling insecure, she began insulting Annabeth and almost hit her. Williams quickly stepped in, stopped her, and sternly warned her never to try such again. He then walked away with Annabeth, leaving Sugar Pounds shocked and embarrassed. Annabeth took Williams to his father's room, brought out the original copy of the will, and handed it to him, leaving him amazed. She pleaded with him not to let Octavia know she was involved, and he assured her he would protect her. Williams carefully left the room, with Annabeth following shortly after. Later, in the living room, Williams presented the original copy of his father's will to Octavia. She was clearly shocked, but quickly pretended it was not the real document, insisting that the lawyer had the original will and accusing Williams of forging it. She then walked away to avoid implicating herself, while Williams remained calm and confident, already certain of his next move. Inside her room, Octavia panicked as she realized her plans were slowly falling apart. She knew she had to act fast. In Williams' room, he tried explaining everything to his girlfriend, how Octavia had forged his father's will and how he never trusted her. Instead of supporting him, Sugar Pounds showed little concern. She blamed him for how he had treated her earlier and for refusing to take her shopping. Shocked by her shallow thinking, Williams tried to correct her, but she walked away, leaving him speechless and confused. Later that day, Annabeth was sitting outside alone when Williams joined her. It was the exact spot where his father used to sit to relax and enjoy the cool breeze. There, Williams confided in Annabeth that he was considering taking the matter to court. Annabeth advised him against rushing into it and encouraged him to stay calm and be strategic in their fight. Williams was deeply touched and impressed by her wisdom. Days later, as Octavia was about to leave for work, Williams stopped her and requested the company's cash inflow and outflow log sheet, as well as the portal password, explaining that he was having difficulty logging in. Enraged, Octavia confronted him, saying he had no right to those records. She reminded him that she had been managing the company as the managing director since Chief's death. She bluntly refused and walked away, leaving Williams challenged. That night, as Sugar Pounds dressed up, she informed Williams that she was going clubbing because she was bored of the house. Disappointed, Williams asked why she was acting ignorant of everything going on. In response, she accused him of cheating on her with Annabeth and told him to do whatever he liked while she went out to have fun. Her words left Williams speechless and ashamed of the woman he called his partner. The next day, Annabeth was cooking when Williams joined her to keep her company. He asked her to sing for him, saying he loved her voice. Annabeth gladly did, leaving Williams smiling and clearly impressed. Later that day, Annabeth served food to Williams and his girlfriend, but accidentally stepped on Sugar Pounds' foot. Sugar Pounds angrily yelled at her. Williams advised her to correct Annabeth without being rude, but she ignored him. When she opened her food, she called Annabeth back and shouted at her for adding onions, claiming she was onion intolerant. Annabeth apologized and took the food away, leaving Sugar Pounds upset and dramatic, while Williams quietly continued eating. The following day, Octavia met the barrister in her car and shared her concerns about Williams, fearing he would ruin their plans. The barrister assured her that everything was under control and well covered, leaving Octavia hopeful. One fateful day, Williams returned home furious, calling Octavia out and demanding to know why she had instructed the security guards to deny him access to his father's company. Octavia boldly confronted him, declaring that he was no longer allowed in the company and even threatened to have him arrested for trespassing. Williams fiercely responded that over his dead body would she take what belonged to him. Octavia coldly assured him that it would happen, drawing a clear battle line between them before walking away and leaving Williams burning with rage. Williams returned to his room and shared his ordeal with Sugar Pounds. Instead of supporting him, she advised that he abandon everything and return to the States with her. Williams firmly rebuked her, insisting he would never walk away from what rightfully belonged to him. He assured her he would fight for justice before walking out, leaving her to wallow in humiliation. Later, as Williams sat at his father's favorite spot, Annabeth joined him and encouraged him to remain calm. She then revealed that she had a plan to resolve the issue, leaving Williams curious and eager to listen. Back in Octavia's room, she contacted the lawyer, expressing fear and panic. She told her they were running out of time and needed to act quickly because Williams was beginning to scare her, even though she tried to appear strong. Just then, she heard a noise. Turning around, she was shocked to see Annabeth coming out of her bathroom. Enraged and terrified that Annabeth might have overheard her conversation, Octavia slapped her hard and chased her out of the room. Meanwhile, Williams was patiently waiting when Annabeth arrived and informed him about Octavia and the barrister's secret plans. As they stood confused and began to strategize, Sugar Pounds quietly came up from behind and slapped Annabeth hard across the face. Provoked, Williams immediately scolded Sugar Pounds and warned her sternly never to touch Annabeth again, threatening serious consequences if she did. Sugar Pounds boldly challenged him, leaving him speechless. Williams then took Annabeth and walked away, leaving Sugar Pounds embarrassed, ignored, and humiliated. The following day, as Octavia prepared to leave the house, Annabeth stopped her politely and informed her that breakfast was ready. Octavia angrily refused and walked away without a second glance. Later, Octavia secretly met with the barrister in her car, where they discussed their next move. That afternoon, Williams was alone in the living room when Octavia walked in, smiling warmly and acting unusually friendly. She begged for peace and offered reconciliation, claiming she was willing to give him everything, even though Chief had willed everything to her. She added that if Williams chose to give her anything at all, she would still appreciate it. Shocked and suspicious, Williams wondered what she was truly up to. Octavia then called Annabeth and instructed her to prepare lunch to celebrate their reconciliation before walking away, leaving both Annabeth and Williams stunned. Moments later, Octavia summoned Annabeth to her room and asked her to bring a bottle of champagne and 2 glasses. Annabeth informed her that the food was already ready, but Octavia said she was not ready to eat yet. While in the room, Annabeth discreetly took Octavia's car keys from the bed without her noticing and quietly left. Annabeth immediately handed the keys to Williams and instructed him to go and retrieve their evidence. Williams left at once while Annabeth returned to take the champagne and glasses to Octavia. Octavia then asked her to call Williams, and Annabeth quietly excused herself. Meanwhile, Williams searched Octavia's car and discovered a phone. As he returned, Annabeth waited anxiously. Once he arrived, she collected the keys and reminded him to stick strictly to the plan when he met Octavia again. Guys, what do you think they are planning this time? Let's keep watching as we uncover everything together. In Octavia's room, she secretly poured a substance into one of the glasses and then poured the wine. Just as she finished, Williams walked in and she quickly covered up her actions. She handed Williams the glass containing the substance and proposed a toast to a new beginning and reconciliation. As she drank from her own glass, she waited eagerly for him to drink his. Suddenly, the glass slipped from Williams' hand and fell to the floor, spilling the wine. Disappointed and visibly shaken, Octavia overreacted. Williams requested another glass, but she insisted on going to call Annabeth instead. Guys, things were clearly getting more serious. Later, Octavia and Williams sat down to eat lunch, with Octavia acting unusually kind and friendly. Just then, Sugar Pounds walked in and was shocked to see the 2 former enemies dining together. She began yelling and speaking rudely to them, but Octavia sharply responded and put her in her place, forcing Sugar Pounds to retreat angrily to her room. At that moment, Williams confronted Octavia, asking why she was so wicked and heartless. Shocked and tense, she listened as Williams exposed her evil plans with the barrister. He revealed how they had planned to eliminate him and even played the recorded conversation from her car. Octavia was stunned, but still tried to deny everything, claiming the recording was fake and possibly generated by AI. Just then, Annabeth stepped in and boldly revealed the truth. She exposed how Octavia had watched Chief die when she could have saved him, all because she wanted his wealth and properties. At that point, Octavia was completely speechless. Her wickedness had finally been exposed. She was thrown out of the house with nothing. No clothes, no car, no possessions, left with only disgrace and humiliation. Her evil deeds had finally caught up with her. Later, while Williams was in the living room, Sugar Pounds came in celebrating that their enemy was gone and declared that Annabeth would be the next to leave. To her shock and disappointment, Williams calmly told her that she was the one who needed to leave. He explained that she had contributed nothing to his life except partying and smoking. He informed her that her flight had already been booked and instructed her to pack her things and leave his house. Sugar Pounds was left paranoid and devastated, while Williams remained firm and unbothered. In her room, Sugar Pounds cried, vented her frustration, and packed her belongings, feeling betrayed and neglected. On the other hand, Williams sincerely thanked Annabeth for everything she had done for him. She had saved his life and helped him reclaim what rightfully belonged to him, everything Octavia almost stole. Just then, Sugar Pounds came out with her luggage and confronted them, accusing them of sleeping together. She then reminded Williams not to forget sending her monthly allowance before storming out. Her dramatic exit left Williams and Annabeth laughing. Williams then reassured Annabeth that his father's promise to send her to school in Canada would be fulfilled through him. Overwhelmed with gratitude and fulfillment, Annabeth thanked him warmly as they embraced. Moral of the story: greed, wickedness, and deception may succeed for a while, but the truth will always come to light. Genuine kindness, patience, and loyalty will eventually be rewarded, while evil intentions will end in disgrace. Thanks for watching, guys. Please don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more interesting Nigerian movies from us. See you next time.